Yeah, it's your responsibility to get them licensed. Like, nobody in this room can tell me they're so busy that they can't spend 2-3 hours a week helping their teammate get licensed. It's your responsibility, right? The only reason that we're going to be introducing Vic to this person is because right now we don't know who's in licensing. The communication's not where it needs to be, right? This new person who's in licensing doesn't even know who our coordinator is, so when she reaches out for paperwork, so we're going to make that introduction, but it's your responsibility to get your teammates licensed, right? Like Trapper helped April, I think, get licensed, right? I mean, she's obviously sharp, right? But everybody has a hurdle they have to get through, and without Trapper, she might have not got licensed. But it's your responsibility. It's your business. You're the CEO of the licensing department, right? You got to get people licensed. You got to help people through it, right? It's your responsibility. After license comes net license. Write that down. You know, I hear all the time, you know, we have people that get a license and they quit. They haven't made $1,000. And you know what I hear all the time from trainers? I hear, oh, that person gave it everything that they had and couldn't make $1,000. I guess it just wasn't for them. That's such a lame excuse. We say that because it's an excuse for us to be a weak leader. There's no excuse for somebody to come in and get a license and not make $1,000 here. On training, we talk about it's the highest paying industry, right? It's one of the most needed industries. To make $1,000, how many families you got to help? One family. You're telling me we're going to license somebody, we can't get them to help one family? How long does it take to get licensed? A couple months in Canada, right? 3 days in the US? Not quite. 4 days, maybe? You're telling me that in a 2-month period, we can't get them amped up and build a list and get them fired up and get crusader mindset and get some meetings on the books and get them in the field to help one family? The biggest tragedy in our business is having a licensed agent quit the business. You know why licensed people quit? One reason. Who knows? Not making any money. I'm trying to count on one hand how many licensed agents that were making consistent income have ever quit the business. I can't think of any. Have you had any? None. None. So what should your obsession be? You're bringing them on board. You're retaining them. So you're every day you're on the phone. You're getting them to training. You're hopping on Zoom calls. You're helping them pass the modules, right? You're getting them in the field. You're lining up activity, lining it up, lining it up, lining it up, lining it up. You help them get their exams done, right? Pass, fail, fail, pass, 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 fail, pass, paperwork, right? Paperwork goes in, 10 qualified appointments. Boom, right away, boom. Well, Steve, this person doesn't have 10 people they know. So why did you recruit them then? Like, they're born and raised in Canada. They've been here for 2, 3, 4 years and they don't know 10 people. Why are they an entrepreneur then? They should be doing something else. They should be working at Aldo selling shoes for now. They should be doing something to get to know people. If you're telling me you recruited somebody who came to Canada 48 hours ago and doesn't know anybody, they should not have been coded. Does that make sense? This stuff needs to be talked about up front. Nancy, this is a warm market business. When you get licensed, we're going to teach you how to go into your market, get results, build a referral market, and then build a team so that you can do the same for your team. That's how this thing works. There's no cold calling. There's no door knocking. There's no paying for advertising. This is a warm market business. Does that make sense? Right? Tyler, how old are you? 35? Right? You're born and raised in Calgary? Right? So Tyler's 35 years old. He's born and raised in Calgary. So if you meet somebody who's 35 years old, born and raised in your city, and they can't get you in front of 10 people they know and respect, that's probably a red flag. That probably needs to get brought up before you recruit them. Does that make sense? Yep. But if you're not focused on licensing and net licensing, you're not going to have that conversation before you recruit them. You see what I'm talking about? If you're focused on building the business, then the quality of questions you ask before you bring them on board changes. If you're just focused on the number and getting the number done, then it doesn't matter who you bring on board. It's a free-for-all. I'm not saying that we prejudge people on their economic status. I'm saying you need to figure out where they're at, right? And that's not an excuse to lower your recruiting numbers. It's a challenge to get into a better market, talk to better people, and get people on your team that are ready to go. Does that make sense? Or else you're going to be a babysitter. And last time I checked, babysitting pays $15 an hour. And I didn't join here to be a babysitter. I came here to be a leader. And after that license, it's develop leaders. Independent leaders. Independent leaders. This is where you have to start to be direct with your people. You have to. Guys, we're in financial services. We're not selling dirt bikes. Right? Appearance matters. Appearance matters. You have to talk to your team about like looking decently put together. Right? If they show up on calls, they got a baseball cap on, they got a huge burly beard, right? They got I don't know, like piercings all over their face and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you're trying to move $300-400 grand and you got a ball cap on and you don't look the best, and right, you got a pink mohawk, it's just not going to go great. And you might have results in your market, but man, how are you going to build other people? So talking about appearance and just looking good, and I mean you don't have to wear a 3-piece suit like Z every day, right? But you gotta just look good, look sharp, feel good, shave, right? Clean cut. Develop leaders. Teach them how to run the system. Teach them how to get results. Spend some time with them. Teach them how to close. But I will tell you something about developing leaders. You can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves, right? You can't just be like, man, I'm taking this one person who's not really committed, right? Doesn't really care about their appearance, doesn't really show up to everything, doesn't really have a great attitude, and I'm spending all my time training them on how to be a leader. My God, that's an endless pit. You have to be spending time with people that are meeting you halfway. Does that make sense? Or else you're going to burn out. People say, Steve, how do you have 3 kids and Crohn's disease and you travel and you got a base shop? I got 3 people on my team and I bang my head against the wall every day. I don't want your life, man. I'll be so stressed out. I'm like, yeah, well, I spend time with people that meet me halfway. I only recruit people that meet me halfway. And then you don't always know who those are because they can fool you. And then I spend time with people that meet me halfway. Even at CFT MD level, there's CFTs that along the way in your team aren't going to meet you halfway. Up, down, show up, don't show up, camera off, right? Party on the weekends, not show up, right? Month on, month off. And if they're not meeting you halfway, they're not ready for your leadership. Does that make sense? You cannot develop somebody who's not ready to be developed. So the question goes back to you, are you ready to be developed? Are you available to be developed? Are you showing up to everything? How are you going to develop leaders if you're not available to be developed? I know Chop's availability to be developed because he shows up to everything, right? But if you're in and out and personal life here, emotions here, emotions there, oh, my kid's sick, this, that, excuse, up, down, how the heck are you ever going to build somebody else if you can't even be built yourself? And I think that's where you start to drive yourself crazy. When you realize that, oh my God, the reason I haven't built anybody yet is because I have not been available to be built. Everybody wants to be a leader, but who's willing to be a great follower first? Guys, you will never be a great leader if you aren't a worthy follower. Before I became a leader, I became a follower. I'm still a follower. I'm a follower of Ed. I'm a follower of Cam Michaud, right? I have people that I follow because I want to be a great leader. You have to be a worthy follower. Worthy follower shows up with a great mindset, rain or shine. They don't let any of their personal stuff in the way. You would never know if a great follower is having a good or bad day. You would never know it. Never know it. You would never know it because you can't tell. You can't tell. And then you work your way up, Now, if you're having a private conversation with your mentor about a struggle, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about walking in a room and huffing and puffing, or sorry guys, I can't be on training today. I can't be on training today because I'm having a bad day. Well, if you're not on training because you're having a bad day, or your camera's off because you're having a bad day, you are a ways away from finding leaders on your team. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. Everybody wants to be a leader, but who is ready to be the number one follower? Who's ready to be the flag carrier, right? On Burr's team or Nabby's team, right? You want to be a super stud like Nabby is. You want to be the next, Audrey Blatz. You got to show up like they showed up. Rain or shine. Charge back jail, minus 4,000 cash flow. Everybody quits the same day. First one on training. Morning, everybody. Woo! Fired up. Right? They lean off camera with their paper bag and go, they're back on camera. Fired up. Right? I mean, that's what great followers do. You guys are all on a team. And every day you get to decide, are you going to add energy to the team or are you going to take energy away? There's energy givers and energy suckers. People love to be on the team, but how many of us are willing to contribute to the team, rain or shine? Are you the flag carrier? Are you the energizer bunny? Are you always on? Are you contributing? Maybe your numbers aren't where they need to be, and that's okay, but are you bringing it? Are you bringing that Nancy Moses energy? Right? Rain or shine. And Nancy's had some great personal growth the last year. I'm going to give her credit. Right? I think from the outside looking in, most days you wouldn't be able to tell. Is Nancy making 200 grand a year? Is she making no money a year? It's hard to tell by just looking at her on Zoom. But there was probably a time in her business where it was obvious where she was at. Probably, just like all of us. That's part of developing leaders.